Listen, if you didn't have anxiety before this movie, you're bound to after it. Let us explain.
So what we do on Let Us Explain is dive deep on something that we can't stop thinking about for other people who can't stop thinking about that thing too. That means we'll be talking about anything and everything, including spoilers, so you might want to wait until after you've seen Uncut Gems to watch this segment, or not, if that's your thing. If you want to hear us talk about Uncut Gems, stay with us, because before we jump into the spoiler zone, we're going to talk more generally. I am your co-host, Zachary Shevich, and joining me, he wants KG on points, he wants KG on rebounds, and the Celtics to win. It's Arturo Zurita.
Wow, Zach, I didn't know you were what's the line you keep telling me from the movie?
I've never...
Also joining us, she's never resurfaced anything. It's AmandaTheJedi.
This has to be the most quotable movie. That's been Zach's go-to line from the trailer. Mine has been too. So while he's talking to his wife and he wants to convince her to say something, he's like, come on, just do it. And she goes, all right, under one condition. He goes, please just say it. What? What's up? He's just like so quick. He's so scummy what he says. And then obviously the one with Kevin Garnett where he goes, this is how I win, Kevin.
This is how I win.
This is my NBA. I love it. As you've seen, we've been talking about it all week. The Trinity Goes Parasite Uncut Portrait. We just got out of having a lovely discussion about Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Go watch it. It's fantastic. Zach, the best Passover movie of the year. Let's talk about it.
The most Jewish movie I've maybe ever seen.
His pitch to me was that.
Yeah.
With a bagel in his hand. I kid you not, ate bagels before watching this movie in Toronto. Do they even sell bagels? We were at a bagel shop. It's not New York. It's not like a
New York style bagel.
You have to understand. Look, I'm from Chicago. I will fight about pizza, but we're not fighting bagels. That's a New York thing. But before Uncut Gems,
I mean, this is a movie with the Afi Coleman. This is a movie.
Come on.
This is a movie where they all sit down to Passover. It's great.
We had to get gluten in us.
But it's not just how Jewish it is. That's why I love this movie. There's so much about this movie that's great. The new movie from the Safdie brothers, who most recently brought us Good Time with Robert Pattinson, which was a big critical hit last year. I know it made my favorite movies of the year list. I know it made Art's favorite movies of the year list. Don't know if Amanda's seen it. Maybe she'll let us know.
Yeah, no, very good. Very good.
But yeah, it's the latest from them with Adam Sandler now in the lead role. He plays a diamond dealer in New York City's Diamond District who is kind of constantly juggling these gambling debts he has all over town. This is a movie that just has a lot of kinetic energy. Once you hit the ground, you start running with this movie.
Yes, sir.
There's so much dialogue happening.
Yes, sir.
It's a constant cacophony of sounds. Art. What stood out to you about Uncut Gems?
How long is the movie? The minutes
2 hours,
between
15 minutes.
2 hours 15.
Yeah, so the everything in between the 0 hour mark and that time right there. You pitched it to me as this being like, because we had Just Seen Waves together in the exact same theater, and that was a very energetic movie as well. It does not stop. A lot of people walked out of this one, I'm sure, and we've heard a lot of people walking out of Uncut Gems as well, it not being their cup of tea, it being too loud, yada, 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 yada. And that's fine.
Yeah. We had like an entire row of, to be fair, older people in front of us left.
It's one of those things where it's like the pitch to this movie. Everything Zach just said about it being unrelenting and it won't stop is either going to make you go, I'm good. It's going to make you go, let's go. I was so excited for this movie. He had pitched it to me as all these different things. Zach saw it twice.
When we were at Toronto, I just had to see it again.
Zach, tell him how your schedule went. It went. First movie?
My first movie was Uncut Gems, and my last movie was Uncut Gems. I arrived in Toronto, and I went before I did anything else. I went to see Uncut Gems. I saw Uncut Gems on my last day and drove back to New Jersey.
Straight to the Diamond District. He went to New York. I absolutely loved it. I think it's better than Good Times. I have been calling it a lot like, not everyone may agree, but again, it's not the exact same comparison. When you say Peels and you Hitchcock, I feel these boys are the new Tarantinos in the style. Obviously, they're not going to have the exact same movies, but in the terms of that fast talking, those indie dudes who are coming out of nowhere and killing the festival circuit the way Tarantino did in the beginning of the 90s, that's what these guys have coming here. They heard Tarantino's retiring. They said, thank you for your service. We got it from here, sir. This movie feels like their Pulp Fiction in its themes. in the way that it's this grimy story and it's despicable, but it's not condoning anything that happens within it.
No,
it's a perfect tale, and we keep talking about the ending. We don't want to spoil what the final shot is.
Right.
But the final shot is incredible. It's a perfect circle. You hate it, but you gotta love it at the same time. In my opinion, I want to talk about the acting, or if you want to break down more of the story, or if you want to go to the acting.
Well, I was just gonna say that the way the movie envelops, it kind of, you feel everything bleeding into each other. You know, there's just this energy to it. He makes one decision that leads to another bad decision, and the movie is the constant. The constant ramifications of his bad impulses.
But then you find out that before the movie even started, he's already made like 70 other horrible decisions that just keep rolling back into the story as he's going.
Like, you probably could very easily have started this movie a week before in his life or 2 weeks before in his life, and it would have the same chaos around him.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that chaos is really embodied in the sound, as we mentioned, in that I don't think there's any line in this movie that's like 100% pristine and clear with no other sound around it. There's always like the sound of the TV in the background, or the sound of
or
other people in the store, or your relatives arguing. People talking over each other. You know,
it's
people don't stop to listen to each other in this movie.
It's wild. It was hard to watch on that because, like, I've gotten better at it, but, like, I used to really struggle with anything. Not struggle, but it's just, like, it's anxiety-inducing. Because it's trying to make you feel like they feel. Because you're trying to feel like
you're living like them in the Diamond District.
It's trying to make you feel like I'm trying to express something and no one's listening to me, and you feel that watching this movie. Because, like, things can make you feel physically claustrophobic in a movie. This, just from the dialogue, is what I keep saying. I felt anxiety and claustrophobia.
Exactly. The same way that things are framed when you have something in the forefront and you have characters in the background, you can see the dialogue doing that. You're hearing the conversation you're supposed to be listening to, but if you tuned it out, you can hear Kevin Garnett in the back talking to our other
Julia Fox or LaKeith Stanfield.
LaKeith Stanfield. You'll hear him pitching something in the back, and it's like, I can literally rewatch this movie and choose who I want to listen to. The exact same way you can rewatch a scene and pay attention to the Easter eggs in the back in a Pixar movie. They have Easter eggs in terms of dialogue in this movie.
And it's not like a generic murmur like a lot of movies have, like, oh, you're at a party, you can hear people talking in the background. But no, it's like every single thing is a genuine conversation that they would have been writing lines for them.
So here's a really big thing, because Zach and I have seen a lot of complaints for the movie, calling it gibberish, and there's just all these different things. No. If it rewards you, if you're listening to a conversation in the back, there's like storylines, like a BoJack Horseman type of like progression that happens with like a storefront in the back. Someone will say something, and later on, it's either something that was mentioned by a main character that gets resolved in the background as a punchline. You're like, that's funny. Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
He was mentioning the Furby thing. They've just brought it up in the back.
Yeah, exactly. The Furby thing.
One of my favorite ones is the cousin who wants to get the signatures of Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
But that's not the struggle in that scene. That's just a side plot. He's doing that
it's like,
while
he's happy he got the signatures.
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of those movies that whenever a character shows up on screen, you know that the directors have an idea for that guy's full life. You know, there's nobody who shows up and is just there to tell Adam Sandler some plot. They all have their own thing going on. Like, I think about the guys that he pawns the Celtics championship ring.
They already hate him.
They're tired of his antics. They've been through this with him before.
It's so funny.
But yeah,
it's like, Kevin, come here. Kevin, come here.
Kevin.
You know?
It's so funny.
I want you to win, Kevin.
We're mentioning how funny it is, and it's not funny in terms of like joke lines, but it's funny in terms of these situations they find themselves in, the relatable ways you see how they try to spin it. Adam Sandler's character is constantly, taking pictures of cash that he has to try and prove to people that he has money that he's about to go spend somewhere else.
He literally walks out of a place where he just pawns somebody else's belonging, shows a picture of the money.
Yes.
And he's like, look, I got your money for you. It's
what
fine.
I got. He literally holds, the picture will last longer than the money in his hand. He just wastes money like crazy. It's insane. And I think that's the part that gets a lot of audiences, because you're not going to tell me none of us have looked at him and gone, we could say we know someone like him, but sometimes we've been him.
Yeah.
And this dude just
he's taking chances. He's betting on himself, and sometimes you
get so frustrated. there was audible grunts in the audience, one in particular. And it was funny seeing Zach watch it again because he's just waiting for because everyone's going to go, once he makes a decision to do something again, and you go...
And you're like, no!
Oh,
you had it solved!
It is one of those movies. It's one of those movies where you watch the character make a decision and you go, oh, come on, not in a way that's bad. Yeah. It's in a way that you understand, but you just see him making so many mistakes.
It can be bad, and then somehow he's so sly. He finds you after going, "What an idiot." Maybe though, is he right? He gets you. He somehow finds a way the same way, and I don't want to get her character wrong. Lucy, his side chick who he has, Julia, who I believe has a whole nother connotation. We're going to be talking about Kevin Garnett. We're going to be talking about The Weeknd being in this movie as well, and in particular, I want Zach to cover the whole space of it being in 2012 in New York, because I love how they got the express written consent of the NBA, so you if you follow sports, the entire thing is going to be funny on a level that won't reach other people. But at the same time,
I had to stop and be like, did this happen?
Right, I was trying to remember people who were on the 2012 Sixers.
Yeah. I was looking over at him, I was like, is this actually a day in the life of Kevin Garnett?
Yeah, seriously.
Because then, as Zach was saying...
Is The Weeknd like this?
Exactly, with stories that each character has, it makes you wonder, are these family members to the Safdies? There's a certain point when you're looking at it from the perspective of the children, which I think are covered beautifully. You don't even realize he has a daughter... till halfway through the movie, because that's how he treats his daughter. There's a whole conversation between him and her when she's like, stop pretending like you're a dad. You're never there. Can I go now?
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't even know you were part of this movie, to be honest with you.
Seriously.
You came out of nowhere. But when he has that scene with his son, when it deals with coming to the apartment, they hold on the son for a little bit, and it felt, is that the origin of this movie? Were they with an uncle? Right. Were they with a dad? Were they with something? And they've spoken about how they were very much invested in the Diamond District in this part of New York growing up because they had family members in it. And that's what this movie... That's why I feel this movie feels so authentic to them. But like you said, it makes you wonder, is this an actual event? Was this a movie?
I believe that character, the child's character's name is Benny, for what it's worth.
Holy... That just makes you wonder, right? That adds a whole nother element to it, man.
Yeah. So you briefly wanted to divert into the performances. Should we talk about the performances a bit here?
Yes, and how they're mixed between professionals and a lot. Not just
something
the singers.
that the Safdie brothers have done throughout their films is cast a lot of non-professional actors, and here they do it in a way that's really intriguing because, they, like we mentioned before, they got Kevin Garnett playing himself.
Yeah.
A fictionalized version of himself, and a really good performance, like kind of self-effacing, making fun of that intensity that he's known for.
Yeah. I need the stone. How much money do we have? Not enough, Mr. Garnett. I need it. I will not win the playoffs without it. I was like, to have him say that.
Yeah.
But we got The Weeknd showing up as himself, Idina Menzel showing up in the role of Adam Sandler's wife.
Yeah.
It's something that I found was hilarious. Mike Francesa, who, if you're from this area in New York, you know as the WFAN sports talk radio guy. He plays Adam Sandler's bookie in the movie.
You know?
That's who that is. Okay.
LaKeith Stanfield's really great in this, but really it comes down to Adam Sandler pulling this all together, being in the center role, just being completely you can't look away from him.
Exactly.
He's so charismatic, even though he's such a scumbag.
It's what he's always wanted, and now he achieved it. You know, it's like
he gets everyone to vibe with him like he does. He's able to tick off Julia, but then at the same time, she's like, I just can't. I'll do anything, and she really does at every point. And he plays his family, and he plays everyone, including himself. Because even as Zach had mentioned, it gets very intriguing when you start seeing that it's not just outsiders, it's not just outside mobsters. They're he's having Passover Seders with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was the thing. I was like, oh my God.
It's like, how scummy can this man be when it even becomes a betrayal of family and stuff. But again, I think that all plays into the themes, not condoning it in a way, but like being overly skeptical of this man and seeing the repercussions that he has and how things can become a vicious circle. I really like how they're able to, again, like you said with Kevin Garnett and The Weeknd, not necessarily poking fun at themselves, but being able to treat the non-professional actors, which also included a lot of people working in the shop, which also included a lot of people outside because they wanted them to be authentic whenever they were interacting with stuff. And a lot of the scenes that they caught, people didn't even know they were in a movie. Sometimes you can even see people staring at the camera, but that's because they're catching things on the fly. And I was like, wow. And they do a really good job. Some of the scenes with The Weeknd, which I know I continue to get questions for in this movie. How long is he in there for? He's in there as like a cameo almost.
Yeah.
He gets talked about a lot.
But it's like
Kevin Garnett has an actual role.
He's an actual role.
Cameo.
Yeah. And The Weeknd is like the worst person in this. I was like, why would you so many people are going to watch this and think it's a real story and they're going to think you're a dick.
I kind of love him for doing that.
Oh, I love it.
I love it for doing that, specifically because one of the other things, if you like sports, you're going to see a whole other side to this movie. But I think if you follow music with the Weeknd side, but also with the Julia Fox character, who I was telling them, I was like, yo, she reminds me of an influencer, also going by the name of Julie, who's very big into that scene as well, and would have crossed paths with The Weeknd. So I don't know if this is him also making fun of that. Because she works with a lot of rappers, looks a lot like who Julia Fox is playing, also named Julia. And I was like, yo, these guys are really smart. They leave a lot of things in there. The Safdies are just waiting to see if you know it, you know it.
Is this like an altered history, but like modern? Is this like a Tarantino trick, but like now?
That's why I'm saying they're good with the they said, Tarantino, go have your baby. Congratulations on the marriage. We got you, bud.
I mean, it is kind of impressive the ways that the Safdies are able to integrate some elements of culture that I don't think we normally see in this context. You know, there's like a really funny moment where Kevin Garnett is trying to, get the stone from Adam Sandler's character, Howard, and they agree that if Kevin Garnett posts a picture on his Instagram, that's like how he'll get paid. And it's those kinds of little bits of recognizable moments that are like very much of our world that I think help cement this in reality, whether it's the trips to the pawn shop, whether it's the way that he goes about gambling, whether it's the diamond encrusted Furbies and the way that everybody reacts to them in the movie.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's just you can tell these are guys who like they have a perspective and they have a distinct eye for the modern world.
And they've been doing this
really
for a while.
watch their movies.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
What was your favorite performance out of? Oh, I can't even say that. Who's your favorite secondary character? Because obviously, I think Adam Sandler's gonna scoop for everyone. I've been pushing as him being the best actor. That said, I have yet to see what, Zach?
Marriage Story. And
with Adam Driver. And now that performance and the hype that I've been hearing it, I'll be seeing that in a couple weeks. But as of now, I really have him as being my favorite performance. I know a lot of people are pushing for Joaquin Phoenix, another person I hope gets nominated, but I truly think he just swept it away. We'll see what Adam Driver does. But in terms of secondary characters, you got LaKeith Stanfield. I do think Julia Fox did a fantastic role. She has some great one-liners on it.
I think this is her feature debut too, so she's really good in it.
Yeah, I like her
I think she may be the Julia that I'm telling you about, the influencer. I have no idea. Idina Menzel also does a fantastic job.
She's hilarious. She kind of plays that very Jewish mother too.
And she's just so jaded. But then you get that moment where she tries on her prom dress. And it's just like kicks everything back, and I'm like, oh my god, this is such a thing. But no, it's just like how exasperated she is with him and everything and how over it. I love it.
Right. And another one of those things that the movie doesn't show you, but it tells you through the character's actions is how tired of his shit she is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yes.
You can tell that he's been doing this stuff for a while.
For a long time.
That he's kind of not prioritizing his family because of how she just
like
is
we're
so
tired
done with
after
him.
an hour.
Doesn't want to see. Yeah.
She's been living with this.
I mean, I think that's really the thing about the movie is it is so good at giving you that anxiety of like I don't know what I'm gonna do next because he's so up against the wall at different points.
But you're invested in it. I know some people are just not with it. Like they're disgusted with him, and when they see him make a decision, they don't want to see it play out. We're like, I can't believe you're doing this. But then you're in with him. You're like, is he crazy enough to actually get this through? Yeah. So that's where I really enjoyed the movie of its back and forth. Like you had brought up the Instagram thing. And because it made me want to go back and scroll to see if that was an actual picture. Because it makes it feel like a biopic where it's like, this is what led up to the explanation of this Instagram picture. Like it's a Hot Ones segment trying to describe how that ended up on his Insta or something. I do want to bring up some other characters. Trinidad James was in this movie.
Yeah.
Is he allowed to be working? Doesn't he still owe people money? Like, what's he doing in productions?
Another thing he's paying people back.
Probably. Another thing is,
but that's also another one of those things that helped sent it in 2012.
Yes,
you know,
well, you're like, how did you get it? Here's one of the things, and I bring this up because we had this conversation a little aside, but we had this at TIFF. We were talking about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and how Kanye recorded that album and how he was able to have all these different things. The Safdies have found themselves in a play box where they can use NBA footage, where they can get an NBA star, where they can get The Weeknd, Grammy nominated, NBA champion. You know, these aren't just like side stuff. Some of those, Stoudemire and Joel Embiid were also considered for the role before it went to who I think was the best one.
Got a special thanks on the movie. I know.
Joel Embiid would have been hilarious, though. Don't get me wrong. I think Kevin Garnett did a fantastic job. Like, if he ended up getting some, I don't know, awards buzz for like a one of the random ones, like he gets a surprise nomination, I'd be like,
okay.
Hey, Kobe got an Oscar. Why not? Kobe got an Oscar. But just the way that they're able to combine everything to make it feel like, is this a segment in their lives? I thought was fantastic.
I'll throw a little bit of love to Eric Bogosian, who played the mob guy who was in Sandler's Family. I think he's got a really compelling presence, like that sternness and how he's just completely over all of Sandler's attempts to pay him back.
Like he's really tried helping him.
Movie too. Yeah.
You can see it.
It's that line between family and business, I guess.
Yeah.
That plays out in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing though with the Safdies is they're really great at casting these roles in a way that nobody feels out of place. Judd Hirsch has a small part in this movie, and he just feels like perfectly appropriate as an uncle to Sandler.
So that's what I was saying with the you had mentioned that in All of the Lights, Kanye uses a Grammy Award-winning legend. You say it.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things about Kanye West as a producer, to go on this weird tangent, is just how good he is at putting people in positions to do their thing perfectly. And All of the Lights, he brings in Elton John, like Elton fucking John, to sing like a line and a half.
Not Edgerton's Elton John. The Elton John for a line and a half. But what did you say about it?
But it's what perfects the song. It takes it to that level you need.
That's the Safdies. And I bring this up because I have compared, I mean, Amanda, one of Amanda's first videos, how we almost connected, was a logic one because I compared Tarantino to Kanye a lot.
Stealing,
the art of being able to remix something, and I feel Tarantino and Kanye do that perfectly. The Safdies, their remixing is life. Like, they just knew getting The Weeknd, getting this person in here, and like you said, a bunch of just side characters just to be these little things is the perfect mixture of what they need. I don't know. This is their second feature?
No. They've made a couple others.
How many have they made? Because I've only seen Good Time in this.
I know they made a movie called Stinking Heaven.
Most are shorts.
Heaven Knows What.
They did Heaven Knows What?
Yeah.
That's like the purple. Bro, this movie gave me anxiety. This is when I first started hating Caleb Landry Jones before we all hated Caleb Landry Jones when he was in Get Out.
Right. Yeah. Well, but you look at Heaven Knows What, Good Time, and Uncut Gems, and that's what they're great at. It's just like making you tense and like I had like a neck ache at the end.
This
of this
movie is so disgusting.
10 years ago, I would not have been able to watch this movie. Like The Office has kind of like desensitized me to like certain awkward situations. Cause I used to be the person that like, you know, it could be like a sitcom and somebody would leave something really important on a table and they'd pan to it and then the person would leave and then you were just basically the rest of the episode is you waiting for that to come back. I can't handle that, or at least I couldn't.
This is a little bit like Scott's Tots.
Yeah, this is like 2 hours and 15 minutes of Scott's Tots, except without the like. I just genuinely believe you were trying to do the right thing, but you're an idiot. This is just like you're so up your own ass that you genuinely believe that you can fix these problems by just doing the same things over and over and over again. It's crazy,
dude. The Safdies directed Jay-Z's "Marcy Me" music video. Yeah. Why don't y'all tell me this? Come on.
Because you're the one who usually tells us this shit. We just assume you know.
I didn't know.
My damn dude.
Wow.
So yeah, we are all big fans of Uncut Gems. Do we want to do a little bit of spoilers, or are you trying to save that?
No, we could do a little bit of spoilers just to hype some people up, because there's always that point where someone's like, you haven't really sold me, I don't know. And I truly believe that sometimes, you know, this is, what are we, about 20 minutes into the video. You guys know this whole spoiler warning thing. People have already seen it. I hope if you're able to screen an early one that you get it. But in case you're still not convinced, hey, that's why they sometimes put endings in movies.
Or if you have seen it and you want to hear us talk about it, because I know I want to hear people talk about this ending.
Yeah. Again,
it is.
He saw it twice. So let's go. It's worth it even if you know. Where do you want to start with
this? Is spoiler zone. So, I mean, I think it all sort of comes to a head in that meeting he has with Kevin Garnett. Like, they're sitting down together, and he's kind of like, he's got to figure out what he's doing with that money, and he hatches a plan.
He's just working and working and working.
At that point, the whole time he's been trying to pay off this bet, but he's trying to see if he can get enough. So he gambles a lot, with Kevin Garnett almost being his muse, because he's taking advantage of the uncut gem that he got as being the muse as well, even though he doesn't realize it may not be as worth as much as he wants. When he's finally able to secure the money to end everything, what does a gambler always do?
To gamble more.
I have an opportunity to get some more. And as always, that was the loudest gasp that we got in our theater. And yet, after we all went, you idiot, just pay it off and end the movie. It's been 2 hours already.
Because he's just looking at it, and then he just keeps going. He's all like, no, Kevin, I believe in you.
Yes. He's
I
like, don't you believe in you?
Kevin.
And he's trying to convince you as well, and you're like, I'm not buying this. And then he opens up the window, passes it over.
He's trying to convince himself. He's trying to convince Kevin.
It's so sick, and you see it. But one of the best performances of the year. I don't know, the more we talk about this. But he does one of those beautiful shots where he opens up the window, passes it to his girl. She takes it, she runs with it, and that whole
just the
final
mechanics,
act.
the mechanics of trying to get that final bet placed. That he schedules her in a chopper to get her to Foxwoods.
Yeah,
it's just such a tense moment by moment thing. Like you're waiting for something to go wrong or something to happen, and
then you're watching the NBA
he traps
game.
the guys in that room
that you see in the trailer. Yep. And they're stuck there for an entire game, which if you don't know, NBA games can run. Ooh, hey, how long is an NBA fourth quarter minute?
Like 10? So that maybe 3-4 hours breaks, trapped in that tiny room.
So they're stuck that entire time, but it all leads up to him actually winning. If you don't watch sports, this movie may actually make you go, I might catch an NBA game. I might catch the finals next year.
I was like, yeah.
Right? And I'm over here trying to remember, wait a minute, who wins this one? Did he win this one? Do they win this game at least? And it's so intriguing, and it leads up to, I think, one of the best endings of the year. I know people are hating the ending. They're hating how it ends. I am personally a big fan of a movie called Empire. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It stars John Leguizamo.
Yeah, you were telling me this after we watched it.
Huge fan of that movie. I know it practically spoils the ending to that as well. But hey, this is like a 2005 movie. Maybe it's never been on your radar. Highly going to I recommend that one. I won't tell you exactly how that one ends, but it also has a very bittersweet, grim ending. Like a poetic send-off. Yeah. That's what this has.
Because the thing with Uncut Gems is it is kind of... there's like a perverse beauty in the way that his life all kind of comes together in the moment where it's gonna fall apart. He finally has figured out the right combination of bets and things to place his trust in,
which is interesting.
And rather than allowing him to benefit from all of those bets paying off, the movie shows him the comeuppance of stringing all these people along, and it brings him back to reality in a way. Brings us back to reality, and it's really harsh, but it feels appropriate somehow. It's definitely like it's a sad moment, but it you feel it coming, and he definitely asked for it.
It's the theme in Pulp Fiction between the two assassins. One decides to make a decision to leave, the other one doesn't. You see how it goes. Again, we were talking... Well, Amanda, I'm curious to know your thoughts on the ending.
I was good with it. Like, it's got that shock factor that I think it really kind of needed, but I can kind of understand why, like, you kind of go through all that and then you get to the end, why some people be like, well, what was the point?
Right.
What was the point? But like, that's life, man. Like,
well,
not everything has...
If it ended another way, then you'd be like, well, that's even worse. What is this, Joe Care for gamblers?
Is he supposed to let them out of that room and they'll just forgive him and go on their way? Like
that's another thing.
These are gun-toting criminals.
Yes,
that are like
Phil.
Done.
I think his name is Phil. I want to say he was actually the one who was Keith Richards, the actor. This is his only role. We thought for a second it was Keith Richards, the artist. But as Phil, I think it's Phil, and then I don't know who the other guy would be. They're the goons who have been, if you rewatch the movie from their perspective, think of the theater scene. Think of them outside. Think of all the chasing, the fountain scene, all the chasing they've done with this guy.
Like, they're done.
They are done. And then he locked them in a room for 3-something hours. Yep. What else would you do when you come out? These are not people. They're not mob bosses. They're the handlers. They're the handymen.
Yeah.
They're the icemen. So that's what they do.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to get got.
Yeah.
But I love, one of you two brought this up, that even after that, the movie still ends with what expression on his face?
That's me. The fucking smile, man. The smile. That smile never leaves us. Everyone's all like, so you're like, we're finally free of this stupid motherfucker. And then no, you're looking and it's just smile.
That like weird little smirk he's got.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's really good. It's one of the most stacked years for performances, and they're all coming at the end of the year. There's a lot that Zach's been able to catch that we haven't been able to. I know Amanda has a bunch of picks. It's so stacked. This is going to be a good Oscar season because I've been saying this is a good year for movies. Yeah. Someone was telling me I was overhyping a lot of movies. I was like, it's just a good year.
Nah, TIFF was like
There's a lot.
Really stacked. TIFF was like
better than Sundance this year. Like
I would
you
say,
said.
yeah.
We've both
I'm sure we'll get into this into another video, but there's probably about 15 legitimate Best Actor candidates this year.
Say that again.
I mean, I might be underselling it. There might be 15
more
legitimate Best Actor candidates this year.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
we came off of Rami Malek winning for Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of people said that Rocket Man might have been a better performance, and I don't think Taron Egerton is sniffing Oscars this year.
No, I don't think
and
so.
I love him. I love his performance there.
It was so good.
For my next magic trick, oh my goodness. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts on Uncut Gems?
I'm just gonna say definitely give it a go.
Yeah.
But don't
even
be
if it's not your
surprised
cup of
if
tea.
like some people just know yourself. Like some people just aren't gonna be able to handle this. But it's worth trying to get through anyways, because like, man, Adam Sandler's back. Like I've been saying this. Somebody forgot to tell Adam Sandler that he's washed up, and he just brought it back.
Oh, we're good. We're Adam Sandler stands, especially Zach. Zach goes way back with Sandler.
I believe it.
Sandler's my boy.
Yeah, but now he's just been like
Adam
he's just been
Sandler.
making movies. It's like, oh, we got a bunch of money to make movies with my friends. Like, who cares? It's like
he does. Yes, does he go on vacation
Adam
with his
Sandler
friends and
is
calls
my-
it a movie?
Adam Sandler is my favorite actor who I only enjoy like 5% of his work.
yes, there you go.
Zach had said it's the Sandler hiatus. It's you only get a good Sandler movie every 5-8 years.
Every 7 years, he's
That's
like,
what he
like
says.
cicadas or something. He just comes out every
he
decade.
He decides to just flourish and be like, right, I'll give you guys like one of the best performances of the year, and then I'll give you ridiculous 7.
But what I was saying when I came out of that movie is this is like the stark raving mad cousin of his work in Punch Drunk Love. The anxious energy of Punch Drunk Love and the depressive nature of his character is flipped into this like angry ball of gambling and Judaism.
Yeah.
It's so funny. They even give him a blue suit in this movie.
That is true. That one.
I thought it was great. I thought it was
That,
so
along with
great,
the good
especially as a
timeline,
Sandler fan.
Again, that, along with the good timeline, along with a bunch of other things they put in the movie, the Safdies are just going, hey, if you know, you know. It's some of the best Easter eggs. It's some of the best references and metaphors because they don't feel like it. It's almost like, wait, what did you... You know when you listen to a rap song and you got to return it a bit? What was that punch? Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Is that is the blue suit from Punch Drunk Love. It's way too close to call.
Did you guys have... got one more question. Do you have any favorite scenes? I'm just... going back through the movie, and I realized we didn't even mention the auction scene, which is so good, and hurts so much.
Yeah, that was like. There's so many wild moments in that. Are we spoiling? Are we doing spoilers? Or
yeah, we're past spoilers.
Yeah, well, because like the whole thing is that it starts with him. It actually starts with the gem being harvested from Uganda.
Yeah, Ethiopia.
Uganda, I'm pretty sure. No, not Uganda. Maybe Ethiopia. It's Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And like that's actually like a huge thing. Like I was like I'm working on a video where it's like taking the fact that like that is a thing, and that all of these people who are like super like pro earth, pro human rights, pro everything for some reason believe in like healing gems and are buying these things that like people are dying in third world countries to harvest for them. So it's got that whole wild aspect right there from the beginning. But he is positive that based on the clarity and what it is, it's worth upwards of $1 million. He thinks this thing's worth bank. And then finally he manages to get it back from Kevin Garnett long enough to get appraised.
Oh, dude, that's so good. What you said.
And then he just finds out it's worth like a fraction of what he thought it was. So he has to, instead of just, leveling or just trying to privately sell it to Kevin, they decide they're going to scam the situation by getting somebody to start putting fake bets in to try to drive up the price. And if he had just stopped 1 second beforehand, it would have worked.
He paid for his own stupid thing. He had to Venmo his uncle the money.
Yeah.
But what you said, I forgot about the beginning because it's not just them harvesting.
Somebody hurts themselves. Like
somebody hurts themselves. All they needed to show us was where it came from. Okay, got it. But they took the time to tell you, look at how hurt the guy is. He's not gonna make it.
Yeah, he is like bleeding
Anyways,
on the ground.
here's Adam Sandler and what he's doing with what a guy just died for.
Kevin!
He died for he died for the stone.
Yeah. And then Kevin comes back with that. One of my favorite lines Kevin comes back with, it's like, now that this is all said and done, you got the money on the butt. How much did that cost you? Yeah. He's like, Kevin, I thought I was going to sell it for $1 million. Like, I spent good money on it. And he clearly says something like 50 grand. And it's nowhere near 50 grand that he paid for that thing. And it's just wild.
Yeah,
that,
and
like,
Kevin calls him out on it. You spent this much and you're going to make this much money.
And he's like, that's
life.
life.
Leads to this is how I win.
Yeah, this is how I win, Kevin.
This is my thing. But it's just insane to see that the movie begins with someone dying for that stone. And then it ends with someone dying for that stone. Man, the Safdie's got one. Come on. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. It's good.
I can't wait for more people to catch Uncut Gems. It's definitely one of the best of the year. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it for this edition of Let Us Explain on Intercut. You can catch more from me, Zach Shevich, by following me on Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd @ZShevich, or check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/multiplex show. Amanda, where can people catch more from you?
YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Letterboxd. Please follow me on Letterboxd, Instagram. Everything's AmandaTheJedi. It's nice and easy to find. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And Art, where can people find more from you?
The Diamond District, getting some Furbies, but you can also see
Foxwoods Casino.
See me putting them on my Instagram.
I could see you slinging like him.
Right? I can go in there for a little bit. And then you can find me tweeting all those pictures over at the A to Z Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Let Me Explain, and every week here on the Intricate Podcast.
Yes, you can listen to every episode of the Intricate Podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcatcher is. I like Overcast. And then make sure you subscribe not just to the audio feed, but to the video feed as well on youtube.com/intercutpod. You can catch our bright smiling faces as we break down the latest entertainment for you. Also find new episodes of Intercut every week, as well as the Let Us Explains that we've been putting out on the channel. Please leave us a comment, like the video, considering heading over to iTunes to give us a 5-star review. And like our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. All of them are at IntercutPod to get updates throughout the week from Amanda, from Art, from me, from all the guests that we feature here on Intercut. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, this is how I win.
Ooh. Ooh. No, I'm gonna go wild on this one, just so you know. I'm gonna be cutting each other off because that's the point of this movie.
Yeah.
I know someone said the other day, it's like, stop cutting each other off.
I've never felt more fucking claustrophobic just by audio. Just by conversations.
I was like, I want the conversation to be like exactly like it is in the movie. The other day, someone told us stop talking over each other, and I know I tend to do it a lot, but I was like, that's why I love this movie, because I love just having this. I want to be like at a bar talking movies with other people, and when you're talking movies with other people, you don't go, all right, Amanda, and now it's your turn. Here's the talking stick.
There's no moderator.
We're in that.